Welcome to our Devos. This week we have been really examining 1 Peter. And the reason why is because Peter had such a unique relationship to Jesus and to the happenings of the early church. That as we look at Peter, it's important for us to really zone in on some of the key things that he said. One of which today is one of my favorite understandings that you can apply to your life right now. You were expensive, so don't live cheaply. You were expensive, so don't live cheaply. Pastor Mike and I had this conversation. We were talking about somebody that bought a brand new car in the church. And a lot of you in the church have new cars. There's nothing wrong with that. But Pastor Mike, I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Pastor Mike is pretty forthcoming with his opinions about certain things. And he says, you know what? He goes, people will buy new cars. He goes, it's fine. They can do that. If they can afford it, it's fine, whatever. He said, but here's what I don't understand. He said, I don't understand why someone would spend like $40,000, $50,000 on a brand new car, $30,000, $40,000, whatever it is, however much a car costs, a nice new car. He said, and then they drive this brand new car. They have this awesome new car, got no miles on it. But then they let it get so filthy on the inside. Within a couple weeks, it's filled with garbage. It's dirty on the outside. Like you can tell they're not taking care of it. It's, they start to ruin the interior. It's got a smell. He said, I never understood that. He said, I would rather have an older car that is kept in good shape, that's kind of, looks good on the inside and outside, it's clean, than have a brand new car that's completely filthy and completely trashed. Well, he didn't realize it at the time, but he's speaking into a very important principle that Peter brings up. If you are here listening to this and you are a Christian, you were bought with a price and you were very expensive. So the question you have to ask yourself is, why are you living cheaply? Why are you living as though God hasn't paid such a high price for your soul? Look with me in 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 18 through 19. Peter says, know that you were ransomed from your futile ways inherited from your forefathers, not with perishable things such as silver or gold. He said, you weren't bought with money, you weren't bought with goods that you could be traded for. He said, but you were bought with the precious blood of Christ, like that of a lamb without blemish or spot. He said, you have been purchased, and the cost of your soul was so expensive. You were saved from these futile ways. Why are you living so cheaply? Sometimes you have to recognize what your value is. I think the great resignation that we talked about a couple weeks ago in the church about how people are leaving their jobs. A lot of people are leaving their jobs not because they don't want to work, but because they're starting to recognize their value. They're starting to see where they are in their careers. Do you recognize your value in Christ? Do you recognize truly what God has given you? In his second letter, 2 Peter, Peter says, we have every single thing we need necessary for godliness. You have it all. You have the total package of what God wanted to give you. Do you live like that? Or do you live as though you're less than? Do you behave as though you're a part of this world? Do you live and act and breathe and move as though your existence doesn't matter? You've been bought with a price. Don't live cheaply.